Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday evening. Welcome to Where All the Women. I'm Megan Murphy. This is Mary Lou Singleton. Mary Lou, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Trying to decide if I want a boat or not. But I just got back from Florida, and every time I go to Florida, I want a boat.
Boats are horrible.
Boats are horrible. I mean, I have the kayaks,
Really
like those are
bad.
officially boats, but
Kayaks are good. An actual boat is a giant, expensive pain in the ass.
oh, you're so
I'm like pretty
useful.
anti-boat. Like it seems
Yeah.
like fun and nice, but I think they're a really big pain in the butt. I think if you're gonna own a boat, you really, really need to love boats. Do you love boats? Do you know anything about boats?
I love the idea of having a boat.
Yeah, no, you're not the right person for a boat. I'm sorry to be so negative about this, but yeah,
You and my husband, but
it's not practical at all.
I got my Florida boater's license, even though I've never driven a boat in my life. I got my
Don't
boater's
get a
license.
boat. I don't even want to hear anymore. This is like the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. Anybody who owns a boat who's listening right now probably feels exactly like I do.
Right. Fine. When I impulsively get my boat, I won't invite you to come party with me in the Gulf of Mexico with my boat.
I don't really like going into boats, to be honest.
Right. It's a little scary.
No, I just don't like being stuck on a boat. I can't pee. I can't get off the boat when I want to get off the boat. Like having been on several here where I live in Mexico, people will often go on what's called a chica loca, and it's like a big party boat. And you have to go at like 7 a.m. and then you immediately start drinking. And they tell you that they'll give you food, but it's not real food. It's like crackers and a bunch of crap. And like I don't know, maybe you get like fruit plate or something. It's 7 a.m., so I've only slept for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grouchy. You have to start drinking. And then you're stuck on this boat for hours and you can't get off until the thing ends. Like if you change your mind, you're like, okay, I'm ready to go do something else now. Too bad you're stuck on the stupid fucking boat. There are bathrooms on these boats, but they're not great bathrooms. I don't know. I'm not a fan of boats. I have spent a lot of time kayaking, like in my youth. I actually was on a racing kayak team when I was like 15. It was not posh. We were kayaking in Falls Creek, which was full of rats.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and I would fall into the water all the time in January with the rats. And
I do love kayaking, though.
And it was full of oil and gas and garbage.
Not posh at all. I was just imagining like you on a crew team in Boston. That's different than kayaking.
That's a movie. You're thinking of a movie.
A movie. I went to college with prep school kids from the area who had been on the crew team and in high school. So anyway, I
don't think I'm going to be able to handle looking at my hair for this whole stream. It looks so bad. It's so dirty and sweaty, and for the past 3 days, it's like I've been at the gym, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to bother like doing anything to my hair. I'm gonna have to go back to the gym tomorrow, so I've just been putting it up, and now it's just getting worse and worse. So apologies to everybody who has to look at my hair for the next hour. Yeah, I don't know. I think having kayaks is good enough. Like you don't know how to maintain a boat, so you're gonna have to like hire somebody to maintain your boat and take care of it. It's just another expense. You don't know how to drive a boat, so you might die. That would be bad.
It would be bad, but I still want one. The heart wants what it wants. I have my Florida boater's license. It was all online. And I have to say, I was a little shocked at how many of the questions were about how to put out a fire on the boat. I was like, how often is that happening? Like, apparently that happens a lot, that your boat catches on fire, which I now know how to. Anyway, I'm probably not going to get a boat.
For whatever reason, my Instagram algorithm thinks that I want to look at boats a lot. So I actually have seen I always I feel like I spend a lot of like hungover days on a Saturday looking at boats capsizing and catching on fire and watching people who don't know how to drive boats almost drown their entire families in Florida, in fact, and boats crashing into each other and boats crashing into docks. So that's made me even less of a fan of boats than I already am. Yeah,
Right.
it's
I'm
like,
not going to get a boat right now.
okay. And I just want everyone in the chat to weigh in and agree with me.
Well,
Should
What's
Mary
a good
Lou get a
boat?
boat?
I really want a boat.
Yeah, you mentioned this. Look, I'm like a big fan of impractical, rash decisions. Don't worry. Like I totally understand that. But I do think that it's a bad idea to get a boat, and I think you'll regret it. And you probably won't really use it as much as you think you will. Like the idea of having a boat, and you're like, oh, we're gonna go out on a boat. Gas is so expensive for a boat. Do you have any idea how much it costs for
I
like
know
a day?
nothing about having a boat. I
Gas?
only know
Crazy.
I just know I want one.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I vetoed this idea. You're not getting a boat. Just
All
stay in your kayak.
Yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and just ignore this half of my head. And
filter up or something.
what?
Do some kind of filter for.
I don't have any like hair products for. I need like hairspray or something. Is it? Does anybody use hairspray anymore? As I mentioned before, I just like style with water and sweat.
There you go.
So, coconut oil sometimes. And if you're in the live chat on YouTube and you want to ask questions or you have comments that you would like us to address live on the air, please use the super chat so that I see those questions. I wonder if you noticed that my arch nemesis got engaged recently.
How could I not notice? I did not need to know about it. I have no interest, but suddenly I know that Taylor Swift got engaged.
Why are people forcing her on us all the time? I'm so tired of it. I feel like it went away a little bit because I think everybody got really sick of Taylor Swift. We're talking about Taylor Swift for those who don't know who my arch nemesis is. I think everybody knows. I think everybody got so sick of it for a while that they kind of eased off. But now, I don't know, she was on a podcast. It's like, is it her boyfriend's podcast or is her boyfriend's sister-in-law's podcast or something like that, talking about their relationship, and everybody was like fawning all over it, including all the people at the Free Press. Like, why? I don't care. Why would I care if a celebrity got married? They're gonna get divorced. Like, what are you guys so excited about? 100% they're gonna get divorced. Has any celebrity ever stayed married?
Good question. Pierce
No,
Brosnan. Yeah, a couple are, but it's definitely not the norm. Yeah.
I mean, and like I guess it's like we live in a nation of teenagers who followed Taylor Swift's story through all her albums and like all her dating woes, and now they're treating her like Princess Diana. That's what I feel. They've turned Taylor Swift into the modern Princess Diana.
Well, I was wondering that if we're going to have that level of a wedding where it's broadcast live and everyone can watch it and see how long the train of her dress is. It'll be interesting because she is kind of like American royalty.
Sad.
It is sad. Marrying into like another branch of American royalty, aka football. Like this is.
I have so much more respect for football players than I do for Taylor Swift. Like at least they have like a skill that they have to work on, and it's sort of risky, and they had to probably train since they were very young. Like I feel like that's way more respectable to be an athlete than to be a manufactured pop star because your daddy bought you a record deal. And then the entire media decided that this is who was going to be famous and we all have to pay attention to her.
I know, but we need something to distract us from all the problems in America, and this is what's being offered to us.
I mean, sports are a good distraction. I don't, and I don't even watch sports. I'm not like a sports fan. I just like, I have respect for, this has been sports in one form and another have been around as entertainment for the populace for so long, from the era of gladiators, and people have always played games and things like that. It's a social thing. again, it takes skill, whether it's murdering or throwing a ball. I just, like if Taylor Swift was like a normal musician that came up in a normal fashion, and I felt that her fame and that all this admiration for her was deserved in some way, fine. But I just don't feel that exists anymore. I feel like that died back in, I feel like in the 90s, we still had real musicians that came up a normal way, like Nirvana.
I was just thinking about Kurt Cobain. I'm like, did it die with Kurt Cobain?
Yeah, kind of. Because after that, it just all became completely like any pop star is like chosen and branded and manufactured and sold as a product. Like any normal person cannot just become a famous musician anymore. I don't think.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Ash wants to know what my beef is with Taylor. I just told you. I just talked about this for like 10 minutes. Also, I've written several articles about this on my Substack, which you can find at meganmurphy.ca. I've explained this ad nauseum and probably will continue to.
Did you see that we had here in the States another trans-identified shooter shoot up a religious school today? There've been so many. Like this is very disproportionate. When aren't they always telling us when it comes to the sports issue, one of the talking points that gets thrown at women who care about the destruction of sports is it's such a tiny percentage of the population,
causing so many problems, like an inordinate amount of problems. Seems like a problem.
Yeah. I mean, shot up a Catholic school, killed at least 2 kids.
I know, it's horrible. But yeah, like exactly. Like the excuse has always been, oh, it's such a tiny percentage of the population, but we're supposed to, first of all, pay like 99% of our attention to them and cater to them in every single way imaginable, from altering all of our language to altering our thoughts to altering, bathrooms and women's shelters and, how we deal with sports and athletics and literally everything else. And they cause an inordinate amount of harm in the world on top of everything because they're insane, entitled, narcissistic people, men with fetishes who I think probably are also abnormally, crazy and dangerous.
Crazy and dangerous, and that they're being fed and reinforcing this narrative that anyone who opposes them is murderous and killing them. And here they are, this is the second shooting up of a religious school, and the rhetoric is so much about how the religious right is murdering trans people. And here they're, Audrey Hale, the woman on testosterone, shot up that school in Tennessee, and this guy shot up a Catholic school. They're disproportionately overrepresented among school shooters, and they're definitely much more likely to be sex perps, according to the males in prison.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. Like I read a bit about, I think he posted a video or something like that. He sounds really, really insane.
Yeah, he's completely deranged.
Yeah, really insane, really dangerous. I mean, I'm sure there were lots and lots and lots of signs that this person was insane and dangerous, and then he's still just like roaming the streets free. Like, I don't know, like shouldn't you be, if this man thinks that he's a woman, shouldn't you just assume he's a crazy person? Totally. Like, and I'm not saying all men who think they're women are necessarily dangerous, but it seems like lots of them are. But they're all crazy. They're all obviously crazy people because it's a man who thinks he's a woman.
Right. That's crazy, but we're not allowed to say that anymore, even though it's literally a psychiatric diagnosis. That's the only way it can get covered by insurance plans. Like they fought to be considered crazy so they could get medical recognition as a medicalized group of people, but we're also not allowed to call them crazy. Yeah. It's nuts. Plus it's in Minneapolis where I think the lieutenant governor of Minneapolis is the one who showed up to the legislature wearing a shirt with a knife on it, a switchblade saying protect trans kids.
One of the more famous transes in Canada who showed up actually to protest me when I testified against Bill C-16 back in 2017 wore that, or a version of that shirt. Yeah, the knife, protect trans kids. I think he was at the Pride Parade or something like that. He gets so much government funding, tons and tons of government funding for his stupid little invented trans projects and his little consulting businesses to consult other businesses and how to properly cater to him, essentially.
The more this goes on, like I can't believe we're still living in this reality where we haven't just shut this thing down and made it completely socially unacceptable to be catering to this. The more it goes on, the more and more I see the parallels between the trans activism and radical Islam, of just how the language policing, how they're holding everybody hostage through terror. They're, no one's allowed to critique them. They have way more power than is representative to the population. And it's basically illegal to criticize both. Well, maybe not so much illegal, but certainly like you'll get you kicked out of polite society in the United States, where thank God we have a First Amendment.
Well, yeah, it's because people have decided to ignore the obvious red flag that these men are all narcissists. And so, yeah, they operate by bullying people and having no conscience and no sense of empathy and, entitlement, psychopathy.
Right. I wonder if the mainstream media is reporting that this was a trans dude.
Well, when I guess I read it in the New York Post, so that's predictable. I don't know anywhere else. I mean, I don't even necessarily know that they should, because what does it mean? I mean, I guess it means what we're saying. It means that he's crazy. But I mean, if it were up to me, we'd just be reporting on men as men and women as women. But I guess then you would add they have this mental illness where they are deluded and they think that they're a woman, and
Well, the women on testosterone are catching up in the violent crime department too.
Really?
When there was that old study from over 10 years ago that I'll have to dig it up, but it showed that men on estrogen retained the same pattern of criminality as men as an aggregate whole, and women so trans-identified men stay just as violent as any other men, as men as a whole, and women on testosterone start reaching male levels of criminality, especially violence, when they're taking testosterone, because testosterone's it's a hormone that makes people more prone to violence.
Yeah, if you take a lot of it, I guess. How much testosterone do you take if you're a woman trying to pretend to be a man? Do you know?
I mean, they take as much as a man would be taking for HRT, like a man with hypogonadal function. There aren't really good standardized guidelines because it's all like cowboy medicine, but women are taking, I think, 100 milligrams weekly of injectable testosterone. That's what we would give a guy in his 60s.
They're taking more than that, according to the internet.
Really?
Yeah, I just Googled and it says anywhere from 50 to 200 milligrams weekly or bi-weekly. So I bet most of them are taking the higher level, probably as much as possible, so they can get as manly as they possibly can. That would be what I would sort of expect.
Yeah, because they want to develop the facial hair and they want their voice box to hypertrophy, and they want to look like men, right? It's
and
messing them up
and all of those things.
Yeah, cross-sex hormones will mess you up.
Yeah, that would make you crazy, I think, if you were a woman and you were taking that much testosterone.
Yeah, they're catching up, and we've had multiple mass female shooters now who were on testosterone. And it's not like that
And
was,
they're all probably suffering from mental illness and all the trauma that they've experienced from their sexual abuse and things like that, because all of the trans men seem to have these histories of molestation and sexual abuse and sexual trauma and trauma in general. And a bunch of them are autistic, and they all feel like they don't fit in, and they're suffering from internalized homophobia because so many of them are lesbians, and they felt like ashamed to be lesbians and thought they should be men instead. So they're all mentally ill, and then they're taking all this testosterone on top of everything else, and they just destroyed their bodies for life. So that would probably really mess you up too.
And they're being fed this victim narrative, this with so much violent rhetoric with it. You know, like, we're being murdered, we're being genocided, we're being killed by people who disagree with us. And they're a sacred caste where they, you know, they're coddled so much that they never get any alternative viewpoints. Like, it's just a recipe for madness, for violent madness.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, apparently it's all over.
It's all over. Yeah.
Well, the Democrats have realized that nobody is into it anymore, and they're just going to stop all of this, and we're just going to pretend that it never happened. And I guess leave all these people hanging out to dry who've mutilated their bodies and attached skin to their vaginas to, you know, attempt to resemble a penis that doesn't work.
I think they're going to say that while they actively still promote this. Like, just yesterday, the Attorney General of Minnesota had a press conference saying they will continue offering gender-affirming care to children despite what the feds say. They don't, you know, they're willing to risk losing funding. California hasn't entirely backed down. I think some of their centers have shut down. Here where I live, it's like they have legislation passed that they have to offer mutilation to children. They'd have to literally, I guess, change the law, or some court would have to rule that the federal law overrules the state's rights on it. I don't think, do you really think they're going to back down on it?
Yeah, except for Canada. But Canada's just going to keep everybody trapped in a propaganda bubble, so that, you know, people in Canada already have no idea what's going on in their own country or outside their own country, because all of the media that they receive is government funded and controlled by the government, like, in as far as what they can even see on the internet. And, you know, Canada is really turning into an actual communist country.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely it is.
Like, if you look at how that happened in China, there's so many parallels, you know, with the revolution. And the economy is really bad. Everything is really bad in Canada, and Canadians really have no idea how bad it is, in terms of, you know, Vancouver being like the fentanyl capital of the world, and in terms of how unaffordable homes and real estate is, and how it looks like they're going to start, you know, seizing private property and, like, people can't afford to buy groceries, and they're, you know, they don't have access to meat. And I'm sure what the next step is, you know, you don't have access to meat, so they're going to start feeding them like chicken TM, you know, like lab grown meat. And it's just all going to be divvied up, and everybody who is unhappy or ill, whether it's mentally ill or physically ill, will just be mated, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. If you don't like it
by the government.
If you're just miserable from living in Canada, you can just go get the state to kill you right after they harvest your organs.
There's not going to be jobs for regular Canadians. You know, those will go to immigrants who will work for less money. And, you know, people, I guess, will just be forced onto the dole, you know, to UBI or something like that, and will just live inside their little government provided house boxes and be beholden to whatever the government says that they can and can't do. It's really bleak. But, you know, so maybe they'll keep transing kids there, you know, sterilizing everybody, and putting them on drugs for life. But I think it's on the way out everywhere else. And, like, you know, this memo, did you read this memo from Third Way?
No, read it for me.
Oh, it's
I didn't do
hilarious.
any of my homework.
Okay, so the Third Way is a center-left think tank, and they have circulated a list of 45 words and phrases they want the Democrats to avoid using. And so these would be Democrats themselves, essentially. This isn't, these aren't right-wing people or Republicans or, baddies like us being like, stop saying birthing person, you idiot. These are, people who are on their side and trying to help. So they're saying, these are words and phrases you need to avoid using because these terms put a wall between us and everyday, they've just discovered this, put a wall between us and everyday people of all races, religions, and ethnicities.
I love how they separate themselves from that. We are not everyday people. They're just admitting.
Totally. Yeah. The plebs.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Puts a wall between us and votes from the plebs.
Right. Okay.
It's a set of words that Third Way suggests people simply do not say it like in real life, yet they hear from the Democrats. So they have 6 categories of words and terms that they want the Democrats to stop using. The categories are therapy speak, seminar room language, organizer jargon, gender/orientation correctness, the shifting language of racial constructs, and explaining away crime. And the authors say that this language makes Democrats sound like the extreme, divisive, elitist, and obfuscatory. Did I say that properly even?
Okay, maybe add the word obfuscatory to the list of things not to say because it's alienating. They actually use that in there.
Enforcers of wokeness. I mean, I know what that word means, but I guess I've never said it out loud before.
It's kind of hard to say.
It's hard to be a writer. You write a lot of words that you don't say out loud. I don't think I've actually ever written that word before either, though, to be fair. Third Way argues that to please the few, we have alienated the many. Like they've just finally caught on to all of this, and it makes me hate them. To please the few, we've alienated the many, especially on culture issues where our language sounds superior, haughty, and arrogant. I just it makes me so mad that they've just figured this out when so many people have been telling them this for so many years. And when they fucked us for the whole time, it's like you forced everybody to use this bullshit 1984 style language under the threat of firing or being kicked out of society or kicked off of the internet or whatever. And now you're like, oh, people don't like this. We should stop using these weird words. So there's a whole bunch. There's tons and tons of words in the memo. But among the terms include privilege, triggering, microaggression, subverting norms, systems of oppression, the unhoused.
Oh, really? Can we say hobo again?
I say hobo all the time. He looks like a hobo.
Right.
Are you a hobo?
So don't date him.
Yeah. No, that was the context. Why would I date him? He looks like a hobo. Or I don't know. Why would anybody date him? He looks like a hobo. Right. The person who immigrated, cisgender, dead naming, birthing person, patriarchy, LGBTQIA+, BIPOC.
They're supposed to say BIPOC.
So it's all done.
Wow.
All the terms, all the woke terms are done.
Well, do you think that who's going to follow this memo? What kind of power do they have? Third Way is a Clinton initiative, right? Isn't that part of the Clinton?
Third Ways.
Yeah. So I wonder how, if it is, they have quite a bit of power monetarily. We can say we won't give you any money if you.
They're centrist. Yeah, I wonder who funds Third Way.
And what kind of influence do they have?
But this is already happening though. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I feel like Trump won and then everybody started taking their pronouns out of their bio. You know,
I see
it's
people
already,
doubling
the
down.
backlash is already here to woke language.
I know, but I live in such a blue state. I just see people digging in harder, like it's their way to own the MAGAs, to have extra pronouns in their bio and to get extra gendery.
But again, like, the normies are not down. Like, first of all, so many people have shifted right, although, you know, right is left now. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's like the right
It's like
are the liberals and the
anti-corporate
left are the authoritarian fascists. So
Yeah.
whatever. But so many people have shifted right now because of all this woke stuff being pushed on them. And regular people never liked this or went for it anyways. And now they're seeing that it doesn't get them votes and that it doesn't work in advertising. So I think that the majority, whether or not in the blue states they're still clinging to this stuff, I think the majority has already spoken and they're starting to see this. Look at the way that Gavin Newsom is acting. Like, he's all
freaking
and he's trying to change and make everybody forget what he did to, you know, California.
But he's still doubling down on males and female sports and rapists in women's prisons. Like, he's not changing any of his actions. I hate Gavin Newsom so much. I cannot believe I just can't believe he has any political traction at all in this country. I despise him. Really, really hope it doesn't work. Yeah. I think too, I mean, who knows? The election's quite a ways away, but it looks like the socialist in New York, Mamdani, is losing traction too. That Cuomo, who's such a bad candidate and was so awful during COVID, and is a terrible, terrible politician in so many ways. But he's pulling ahead. He's far better than Mamdani, who, as you said, you know, wants to decommodify housing, just complete communist move to make housing is available to through the state now.
Yeah.
I hope you're right that it's fading. I just, like I said last week, I just live in fear of these people gaining power again.
Yeah. I mean, but if they do gain power, they'll gain power by a different route than they did in the past. Like, they're not going to double down on all this woke stuff, I don't think. I think they'll just hide their aims. I mean, they always hide their real aims, I suppose, but you know, they know that people don't like it anymore. So I think that as far as the language goes anyway, I think terms like birthing person and cisgender will go out the window. I mean, maybe it'll take time and some context because, you know, it was institutionalized in so many ways.
Right.
Through, you know, academia and things like the midwifery. What are they, you know, the midwifery organizations or whatever.
They've all driven themselves into the ground. Like, the Midwives Alliance of North America doesn't even exist anymore. It basically went down in flames after the wokeification of it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, both the gender stuff, and then even more so was the constantly calling all the white midwives white supremacists. Like, people don't want to pay their dues if they're just being, you know, told they're terrible people because of the color of their skin.
But yeah, but this is the same thing that the Democrats are figuring out. Like, why would people vote for a party that's calling them all a bunch of racists?
Right.
And calling them stupid and calling them bigots.
Right. And won't allow any disagreement. Like, you can be a pro-choice Republican. Like, you get kicked out of Democratic functions if you criticize gender ideology, or if you don't have your mask on in certain times and places.
Yeah, I think that the quotient of people who are still clinging to narratives around gender identity and race and things like microaggressions and mask wearing, I just think it's a tiny minority of people who most of the world now thinks are weirdos and idiots and losers, and they like it's become a joke rather than something to be afraid of so much.
Yeah,
Whereas
they definitely have lost power.
Yeah.
And you know, we have to credit Elon Musk for that to a large degree, to like just opening up the ability to say what you actually think on Twitter like that. It just opened up so much more discourse, and people could see how many people disagreed with all of this. And then Trump's reelection obviously made people realize that the majority of people are not down with the woke brigade.
Yeah, the fact that Elon Musk freed the bird, as it were, allowed everybody to start saying what they really thought, and then, you know, the progressives and the Democrats were forced to contend with that and be like, oh, shit.
Yeah, oh, we can't just censor everybody. We can't just,
we don't have as much power as we forced on people, I guess, you know, like.
Oh, I really hope it doesn't work. Like if they just pretend they don't believe in all that crap anymore and they get back in power, and then we're back with all the language policing again that's my fear.
Well, I don't know. I mean, don't worry. There's still like lots more bad stuff that's coming down the pike, and I think maybe even worse stuff. I just think it's different. Like I think that the woke language is done. And I think in general, the transgenderism thing is done, but that doesn't mean that transhumanism is done. Yeah, you know, right. Now, like the really bad stuff that's happening now, I think, is surveillance and, you know, AI and everyone's jobs getting replaced by AI and people losing the ability to think because they're overusing AI. And the fact that we'll be fully controlled by technology.
Oh, yeah, that is all worse. People also are losing the ability to reproduce normally. That really freaks me out.
And they're starting relationships with AI, so they're losing the drive to reproduce,
right?
Because obviously you can't reproduce with your iPhone, but also, you know, that combined with pornography use and pornography addiction, which I think is only going to get worse. First of all, as people are just becoming further and further isolated too, and developing more and more social anxiety. Like if you look at the generation that's coming up, Gen Z, I don't think they really know how to socialize. And I think that they have a ton of social anxiety. And I think that they're so used to operating online and thinking that engaging with people or AI online constitutes a relationship. Like, how are these people going to reproduce?
Right.
Yeah. Like, I think that's the troubling thing. And I mean, and again, you know, like it's just everybody just goes along with it. There was this article at NPR about this woman wrote it because she and her boyfriend were having problems. So she used Chat GPT as a couples counselor. And lots of people are doing this now. They're using Chat GPT as a therapist. They're asking for advice about dating, or, you know, how to compose a text to their situationship or whatever. And yeah, so she decided to try AI as a couples counselor. And she says, okay, so one recent evening, my new boyfriend and I found ourselves in a spat. I accused him of giving in to his anxious thoughts. He says, it's hard to get out of my head. Mental spiraling is part of the nature of sensitivity. Sometimes there's emotional overflow from that. Both of these people sound annoying.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a fun relationship at all.
He's like an emotional, sensitive artist type. So, anyway, so she says, our different communication styles fueled the tense exchange. While I lean practical and direct, he's contemplative and conceptual. I felt we could benefit from a mediator, so I turned to my new relationship consultant, ChatGPT. And she talked to some of her friends about this and, you know, how they were using ChatGPT. And Kat, a friend of hers, said, I feel like it gives better advice than my friends a lot of time and better advice than my therapist did. With friends, we're all just walking around with our heads chopped off when it comes to emotional situations, which I think is probably true. Like, your friends probably don't give good advice, but I don't think like people ask for advice from their friends because they are going to take it. Yeah. They're just trying to process stuff. Like, when you're talking to your friends about stuff, you're not like, oh, I'm going to do what my friend tells me to do. Like, if a particularly astute or wise friend gives you advice, you can be like, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. But usually you're just trying to sort things out in your own head and process a situation. Like, you're not anybody who thinks that like a friend is talking to you about their problems and they genuinely want your advice is stupid. Like, you know, when people are always saying things like, oh, well, I gave her advice to leave her shitty boyfriend and she didn't leave, so screw her, I'm done with her. And it's like, yeah, she's gonna leave her boyfriend because you told her to. Like, get over yourself. That's not how this works. So,
but they are gonna listen to the AI.
Well, but so I mean, yeah, ChatGPT probably does give better advice than your friends who are just trying to talk things through with you for the most time and, you know, have their own problems and issues as well. But anyway, so she decides to talk to the chat bot and ask for advice. And the chat bot kind of takes her side and says, you know, one person seems to be carrying more of the emotional labor. I guess, I mean, I just, even if the chat bot does give better advice than a therapist or friends, I still think that you should have an inherent aversion to talking to a chat bot.
Yes, because it's like a big Ouija board, just creepy as all get out. We've been warned for over 100 years not to make the AI because it's going to kill us all. Like, what? Can't believe people are just embracing this thing. Yeah, and large language prediction models lie. Like, they don't even tell the truth. They're just, you know, they just have this illusion of being communicative.
I mean, I just like, I'm reading the responses from the chatbot, and they are good responses. I just still think that it's a creepy thing to do.
Yes.
So the girl Emma asks her, because the chat bot is kind of siding with her, and says, can you correct yourself so that you're less biased towards my needs and consider both partners on equal footing? And the chatbot says, I can shift into a neutral relationship-centered mode where the goal is supporting both partners and the health of the dynamic overall, not just advocating for you individually. So rather than framing him as emotionally avoidant or you as the emotionally attuned one, we'll look at how your styles fit together or don't, and how each of you contributes to tension or connection. And then it goes on to say, the result, you feel abandoned or stuck carrying emotional labor, while he may feel criticized or overwhelmed, even though you're both trying to reach each other. So, like, I don't know, that's like pretty decent feedback, but like, I don't know. I mean, I think people really are building relationships with AI, or they think that they're building relationships with AI. And I think that it's so weird and dangerous.
I'm going to ask it if I should get a boat.
Okay. Ask it to get a boat. I bet it'll agree with me. Tell us what it says.
Ask it to be more on my side.
Ask it. and then tell us next
No, I
week
don't
what it
talk
says.
to that cursed thing. I feel like I'm not going to even talk to it. I would prefer it didn't exist. It's so creepy that this is happening. Yeah. And then people are falling in love with it.
Andrew says, have y'all heard about the teenager who asked AI how to commit suicide and then did it? And yeah, I mean, that was the other thing that I was going to bring up. There's actually two families of two teenagers now who are suing AI companies because their kids commit suicide on account of these relationships that they've formed with AI. Because teenagers, like, I don't know, I don't think that teenagers are equipped to know the difference. You know, these are kids whose brains are still developing, right?
Yeah, I don't think teenagers should be allowed to talk to it.
No, I don't think teenagers should be allowed to use any apps. Like, I don't think that you should be allowed, I was going to say on the internet, but I guess that's like, no, people are going to think that I'm crazy to say something like that. But like, what is that? I don't know. What does a teenager need with the internet? Like, go outside and play a sport. Like, come on. But so, okay, so there's the most recent case that I read about. The Rains family are suing OpenAI and Sam Altman for they're accusing the company of wrongful death, design defects. I hate the lawsuit as well, I have to say. Design defects and failure to warn of risks associated with ChatGPT. The couple, so the parents of this teenager, seek both damages for their son's death and injunctive relief to prevent anything like this from happening again. I'm trying to find out more about the case, but I mean, yeah, I don't think kids should be allowed to use ChatGPT at all. But I also find it sort of weird that like they're not asking the company to impose age limits. They're asking the company to offer better like suicide intervention practices if a kid is using AI and is showing signs that they might want to kill themselves.
I want to censor the AI. Yeah.
No, they want the AI to like interject and be like, oh, you seem like you might need these resources. Like call this suicide helpline.
Yeah. Well, I don't like anything about this story. I don't like Sam Altman. I think he's one of the most evil humans on the planet. He's the one who, with his ex-boyfriend, Lucas Harrington, started that Conception Biosciences, where their whole goal is to make human eggs out of male skin and blood cells so they can create babies with two genetic fathers. I mean, he's the father of ChatGPT and OpenAI. I don't like him at all. I don't like the American reactionary desire to sue every time a tragedy happens. I think that's one of the major problems with our country, and it just breeds more insane safetyism that is wrecking our youth and wrecking our wrecking our fun, wrecking our ability to be free. And I really don't like that children are talking to the AI.
Yeah, so this is so the kid's name was Adam. Adam's parents say that he had been using the artificial intelligence chatbot as a substitute for human companionship in his final weeks, discussing his issues with anxiety and trouble talking with his family, and that the chat logs show how the bot went from helping Adam with his homework to becoming his suicide coach. In a new lawsuit filed on Tuesday, the Rains claim that ChatGPT actively helped Adam explore suicide methods.
Because he asked it to.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, I mean, people use it like Google now. It's just even worse because they're forming these relationships.
If Adam lived in Canada, he could have just gotten a severe depression diagnosis and then as a child requested medical assistance in dying.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if his family knew that he was struggling with any of these issues. Like he was just talking to the chatbot about
But
it.
I knew he
And
had
I
no
think the
friends.
family wanted the chatbot to say like, "Oh, maybe you should talk to your family about this and you should reach out for help," instead of, helping him figure out. But it's a robot, so
It's
it's
a
like the
robot.
family holding ChatGPT to account. I mean, I don't know. It's not that I think that ChatGPT shouldn't be held to account. It's just that I think that this shouldn't exist, and certainly that under
Yeah.
18s shouldn't be allowed to use it. Like, I
Yeah.
just think the whole thing is really dangerous. Like, you can't control this. The genie's out of the bottle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's here. I mean, the only thing that can shut it down would be, complete collapse of the power grid. They're just building more and more power plants to fuel this thing. I just can't believe this is happening. So
I
crazy.
just, yeah, it's the most depressing part to me is people, because they just go along with the next new thing. They
Yeah.
just they have no instinct. They have no survival instinct. Like, this is a recipe to, you know, to self-extinct. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to start relying on Chat GPT for everything, to communicate for you, for giving you advice, to form relationships with, to write your emails, to do your work for you, I mean, you're rendering yourself extinct.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're rendering yourself useless because you're ensuring that your brain will atrophy and that you'll be irrelevant in the job marketplace. And also, you're limiting your ability and drive to form relationships with other people, build communities, and reproduce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're at a very dire place in the human story from, multiple perspectives will lead you to think we're not in a good place. Yeah. Yeah, I just still can't believe this. And you're right, people are just so stupid and they're so sheep-like. And everyone said this was a bad idea. We shouldn't use it. We're not going to use it. And all those, like 90% of the people who were opposed to AI now love AI and are using AI. The same with genetic engineering. All of my old anti-GMO activist friends now are super into mRNA technology and really upset that that's, even being discussed as something that should be taken away. And I don't remember, like, back at when 90% of people were like, I'm not going to take some rushed COVID shots and then give it 2 months. And they're like, all those people are saying it should be forced on us.
I don't
Humans
think
just,
that many people said they wouldn't take a rush COVID shot. I think a lot of people were like, rush it more.
no, that's not true.
Just the
I
rush
mean,
COVID shot,
no,
but faster. And make
but
sure you give it to the homeless people and the Black people.
no, in August of 2020, over 70% of physicians said they weren't going to take it because they didn't
Oh,
trust the
physicians.
technology. Yeah, of physicians. And then,
Oh.
yeah, that it's rushed. They didn't want it. And then those same people were the ones with their, look at me selfies, getting their COVID shot for their, changing their Facebook profile photo to them getting their shot. People
Well, they
just,
made money off of it, right? Like, I mean, the general public, I think, wanted the shot because they thought, because they were told, they thought once the vaccine comes and this will all be over and we'll be free again. The physicians who said, no, 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 we're getting subsidies for giving up the shot, right?
no, we didn't get any. I mean, I'm in primary care. You don't really get, well, maybe they were, but the people I know who said they weren't going to get it and then got it, a lot of them were nurses. They're not making any money. Family practice docs who work in rural New Mexico aren't making extra money. If the practice they work for is getting extra money because they're giving the shots, the physician's not getting any of it. I think it's people don't have a backbone. They do what they're told to do. The slightest bit of pressure makes most people cave and just pretend they actually want to do the thing they're being coerced into doing.
And they trust the experts. Like, I think
Yeah.
most people trust the government, trust the authorities, trust the experts. So I think most people are not as skeptical as they should be. I mean, you would hope that people would be more skeptical of what the mainstream media is feeding them now after we all went through after we all went through COVID. And we know that the media lied to us the whole time and was just feeding us, big pharma / Democrat talking points and not doing any actual journalism.
Right.
And, you would hope that they would trust the government less.
People just take the path of least resistance. Most people don't have any fight in them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, actually. And that is depressing because I think that is human nature in a lot of ways, like go along to get along. Like obviously not for us. There's some people who aren't like that, but I think that most human beings have probably, evolved on some level in that way to be like, well, I don't want to cause a ripple in the community lest I be kicked out, unless, lest I'm not liked or things become difficult for me.
Totally. Look what's happening to that lady who's speaking out about it. I don't want that to happen to me. Like that's, a lot of it. I'm not really supportive of this family suing. I'm really opposed to people being litigious. I also think if your teenage son has no actual friends and is spending all his time on his computer, he's already a suicide risk, right? Like you already need to intervene. Like, why didn't this family intervene? Instead, they're, I know like people who are grieving want to find someone to blame. It's a normal stage of grief to be angry, but I don't really respect a family doing that. I'm like, what circumstances led to your kid having no friends and spending all of his time on the computer? I'm not really blaming the family, but if they're going to play the blame game, they're going to be open to accusations against their own behavior as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't like it either. And I think what they're asking is for Big Daddy chatbot to take care of their child, in the same way that they want the state to take care of their child. They're farming out what their family and their community should be doing in terms of like supporting and protecting kids and teaching them, healthy boundaries and things like that. Like it's just kind of exacerbating the problem. So this is what the lawsuit says. Despite acknowledging Adam's suicide attempt and his statement that he would do it one of these days, ChatGPT neither terminated the session nor initiated any emergency protocol. After the lawsuit was filed, a spokesperson for OpenAI said the company is deeply saddened by Mr. Rain's passing and our thoughts are with his family. And then he goes on to say, he or she, I suppose, ChatGPT includes safeguards such as directing people to crisis helplines and referring them to real-world resources. While these safeguards work best in common, short exchanges, we've learned over time that they can sometimes become less reliable in long interactions where parts of the model's safety training may degrade. This is so creepy to me. It's
I know.
Like sci-fi. Safeguards are strongest when every element works as intended, and we will continually improve on them. Guided by experts and grounded in responsibility to the people who use our tools, we're working to make ChatGPT more supportive in moments of crisis by making it easier to reach emergency services, helping people connect with trusted contacts, and strengthening protections for teens. Like it's just like, it's like, okay, more ChatGPT. That's what the solution is, right?
And ChatGPT can now, will make it so it interfaces with the state and it can call the cops on you if you're having dangerous thoughts. Like that's where this is going to lead. These kind of lawsuits are going to lead to that, where the ChatGPT is going to notify the authorities you are typing wrong think into the model.
100%.
Yeah. That's like, where it's going to go.
This person's dangerous and they're going to send the cops to your house.
Right. Asking questions about the dangers of vaccines, or maybe they're asking, how do I have a baby without hiring medical support? Give me information on free birthing, or 100%. God knows what it is like. Where can I find raw milk? Who knows?
100%. Yeah. 100%.
all those dangerous things.
People are so stupid. I'm sorry.
I'm so
They have no
disgusted with
foresight.
safetyism and always blaming, and the culture of trial lawyers and American litigious nature. It just leads to more and more and more suppression of freedom, and people are just begging for it.
Yeah. Okay, it's coming up in an hour, and I just want to get to the most important question of the day before we log off, which is, how much money should a man spend on a first date? Or like, let's say like an early date, like first or very early on. This stems from a tweet that I saw. I'm sorry, a post on X, whatever. I'm going to keep saying tweet. I don't care. And it's the image of an angry man. And it says, driving home after spending $450 on a date and only got a hug. And I responded and said, are you looking for a girlfriend or a prostitute?
Yes.
And I got a lot of interesting and predictable responses, including from men who are saying, to be frank, you could say to the girl, are you looking for a boyfriend or a sugar daddy? The trick is to find a girl that doesn't need a $450 meal when you're getting to know each other. Someone else said, that's only a fair comparison if you're also willing to call a woman a prostitute if she won't sleep with a guy who doesn't spill generously for a nice date, i.e. so like, oh, he didn't spend enough, so I'm not going to sleep with him. And men saying the best dates are where hardly any money is spent. And why are you spending $450 on a first date? Go for coffee or a picnic. If she balks, then you saved a bunch of time and money. She does not want a man, just a full wallet. Save your money for important stuff like home and children. Never spend $450 on a date. Like, I mean, I think that, okay, let's say it's a first date. So you're just trying to woo this woman. He's obviously never slept with her before. He spends $450 hoping, expecting that she'll sleep with him. And then he's bitter that she doesn't because he just spent $450. I mean, I don't think you should spend $450 on a first date. But also, I feel like if you can afford to spend $450 on a first date, then who cares? Then don't freaking whine about it. If you can't afford it, don't spend $450 on your date. But if you can afford it, which I feel like you can because you just spent that much money, then don't whine about it. Then whatever. Okay, then you spent $450 and that's an okay amount of money for you to spend on a night out, I guess, because you just did. Like,
I know.
Get over it. Like, I hate rich people who are cheap too. Like, it's like you have a lot of money and you're just being a cheap, whiny bitch because she didn't sleep with you. Shut up.
I just hate these conversations because they just pull back the curtain to the dismal state of dating that I really don't like to think about because it just feels like the end of the world, that everybody is so fucked up now. And nobody can just like organically meet someone because no one has a community anymore and everything is transactional and everyone feels like they have opinions. Everyone's giving terrible advice. Yeah.
And awful. the weird thing about all the responses, and because then I'm like, there's some kind of like disconnect here, because the way that I think about dates, whenever I talk about these kinds of questions and about dating in general, I'm like, oh God, I'm so different than all of these people, because when I think about a date and going on a date, I'm assuming that I already know the person and like them. And that's why I'm going on a date with them. And they're all assuming that these people have never met before, because those are the kinds of dates. They're like, why are you spending $450 on a stranger? And I'm like, why are you going on a date with a stranger? And they're like, not crossing wires, right? Don't spend $450 on a stranger. But yeah, why would you ever? I was like, why would you go on a date with somebody that you don't know to get to know them? I'm like, why?
It's so
like, why would you date them if you don't like them? Like, what do you guys are just, I think they're all wrong and I'm right. I know that I'm right, actually. 100% I'm right. But like, it's the question of the money thing fact ties into all of this, the fact that everybody's going on dates with people that they met on the internet. And then, first of all, it's weird that you would expect a stranger to sleep with you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even know this person and you're expecting them to have sex with you. Like, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it is weird. And it is, I think your comment of like, are you looking for a girlfriend or a prostitute is absolutely apt in this situation. Humanity is so messed up. I really am hoping for a revival of romance and chivalry and just niceness away from all the artificial cyborg crap that's happening.
Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, the prostitute thing I think is interesting because I feel like if you're equating how much money you spend to whether or not a woman is obligated to sleep with you and this person is a stranger to you, then what you do want is a prostitute. And then why are you going on a date? Why are you not just hiring a prostitute? Not that I'm recommending that, but it's like, well, what are you doing then? Like, what do you... what's that about? Like, is this just pride where you want this person to voluntarily sleep with you, but not really because you're expecting it because based on how much money you spend? Like, if you genuinely think that's the trade-off, then yeah, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a prostitute, not a relationship. And then on top of all that, inherently, that's the kind of woman you're going to be going out with. You're going to be going out with a woman who wants your money.
Right.
You know, like, you're not looking for a real relationship with somebody that you genuinely like, who genuinely likes you. Like, you're not looking for a mutual attraction or, you know, an egalitarian relationship where you're spending time together because you're really into each other and you're sleeping with each other because you're really into each other. Like, you're seeing this as transactional and very superficial. So you're going to be dating women who see relationships as transactional and superficial. So then what are you mad about if you're saying, oh, well, she expects me to spend this much money on a date? It's like, well, who are you dating? Like, what kind of women are you dating? This is your fault too, right?
Yeah, people are just so messed up. Yeah, this is really sad. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what, like, that guy is probably never going to find a good relationship. If he gets into a long-term relationship, it won't last very long because he's clearly a jerk. If he thinks
I mean, it won't be like a real relationship, I don't think, anyway.
No.
I mean, like, I mean, I have to be honest that I also felt like all the men saying like never spend $450 on a date are kind of funny too. And saying like, you should just go for coffee and a walk. And I'm like, well, no, that's not the other, like, I don't want to go for coffee and a walk on a date. Like, I do expect him to spend money on me. Like, that's not what the end result isn't like, be really cheap and see if she still likes you anyway, because being really cheap is totally unattractive. So, like, you're shooting yourself in the foot with that response as well.
I think it just depends on who she is. Like, ask what she wants to do. And yeah, I mean, I would love to go for a walk, but I would need to already know the person. Like, if I'm going to go like walk in the woods where there might not be other people around, I'm not going to do it with some rando that I met on a dating app. Like, that's just a recipe for a horror movie, right? Just getting killed in the woods or something. Like, I would want to be in a place where there are lots of other people around if I'm meeting a stranger. But I think, yeah, for a lot of people, like, walking is nice, and time is an investment as well,
but that's so awkward. Like, if you don't know for sure if you like someone or not, then no, I don't want to be stuck on a walk with them. Like, but if you do like them already, then I don't know. I guess if I'm going out on a first date, yeah, first of all, I'll know them already, and I'll know that I kind of at least like them enough to be like, okay, well, we can like have a fun time, or we can have a fun conversation, even if at the end of the day I don't want to sleep with him or don't want to be my boyfriend or whatever. But I expect to be wooed. Like, I expect him to pay for my drinks, and like if we go for food, to pay for that also. Like, I expect him to be, trying. Like, if a man was like, let's go for a coffee, I'd be like, no. Let's go for a walk. No, I don't want to go for a walk with you. Like, I'll go for a walk with my boyfriend once he's already my boyfriend. Like, I would rather go for a walk by myself, I think.
Yeah, I like walking with people. It just depends, find out what she wants to do. I don't think it should. Yeah, this is just really sad. It's sad how.
Well, that's kind of tough too, though, because like at first I agreed with you when you said that, and I was like, yeah, do ask her what she wants you to do. But then, like, you kind of also want a man to take charge, especially early on, so that he shows that he's not totally passive and can't make a decision and doesn't have any ideas of his own. Like, to be like, well, what do you want to do? Like, that's really irritating. Like,
well, I mean, that's
like,
really.
He should say, hey, do you want to?
Yeah.
Like, do you want to come for dinner? Like, do you want, like, if you're asking a girl on a date, like, do you want to go for a drink on Saturday? Do you want to go for dinner on Saturday? Or being like, hey, do you want to hang out with me sometime? And then coming back with, well, what do you want to do? Like, I would be like,
yeah.
Okay, why do I have to lead this date now?
Different in what they want. I think I'm like, what was my first date with my husband? Because we met through a personal ad in like an old weekly newspaper back before internet dating. So I'm so down on internet dating, but I pretty much met through the equivalent of internet dating of the time, right?
Your story is good though. You have like a rom-com story then.
Yeah, we kind of do.
Like, that's abnormal. Now it's just like dating online is the norm. So yours is kind of like a funny and interesting, quirky way to meet, right?
And what did we do? We were both single parents. We talked on the phone several times. I just really we just talked and talked. We both had really similar interests, and we were both single parents. And we took our kids to this place called the Discovery Zone because we both wanted to see what kind. Like, we were looking for a life mate to raise our kids with, and we went to this kid fun, like, commercial fun place with all these like slides and ball pits and stuff, and it was a blast. Like, we were finishing each other's sentences. I really loved how he was with his daughter. I loved how he was with my daughter. It was like I'd have a thought and he would just start talking about the thing I was talking about. We like fell in love on our first date at the Discovery Zone. So I just don't think there's a recipe that wouldn't work for almost anyone else, right? But there's not
but that's different because you have a buffer. Like, you've got your kids, so you're completely can be distracted. Like, if you were with somebody that you weren't that into, it wouldn't really matter that much because you'd still be engaged with your kids. So you're not just like walking around awkwardly or sitting having coffee awkwardly and nobody's saying anything and it's weird and you feel kind of stuck there because you're already at this place. You would be there anyway with your kids. I mean, it worked out for you, but I think that would sort of be a less awkward situation than being like going for a picnic because the guy thinks that's like a cheap date, like fuck you, and with a guy that you don't know, and then you're kind of stuck there having this like no fun, awkward picnic.
He did pay the admission fee to the Discovery Zone. I think it was like $7 or something.
Good.
Yeah, but I didn't feel like I owed him sex on the first date because of it,
I mean,
right. Yeah, I'm sad about the state of dating. I just want people to stop, like, get off the computer and go meet people in real life and get, like you said, know something about somebody before you go out with them. Like, at least have a mutual friend or something.
Yeah, like, have talked to them and flirted with them a little bit in real life and know that at least there's like a vibe or some kind of interest. I mean, come on. It's not that hard either. I don't know why people act like it's impossible to meet people. Like, I know that I say this all the time. People are like, well, it's not easy forever. It's like, I meet people constantly. Like, I'm constantly meeting people and talking to people. And I'll know if I'm like semi-interested in them or not. It doesn't mean that I'm for sure going to be interested in them. But like, it's not that hard to go out in the world and engage with the people that you encounter in the world. That's like natural. Like, unless you never go out into the world, in which case go out into the world.
Right. Well, yeah, the first rule of like meeting people is to get offline and go out in the world. That's what you have to do, is go to where some people are.
The best way to meet people is to go where there are people.
Yeah, exactly. Like in real life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
We solved it
again,
all.
now we've solved all of the world problems. Well, the problem is that nobody ever listens to us.
No.
I mean, if they did, we would be much better off.
I think so too.
So, but alas, maybe like 1,000 people on YouTube have listened to what we have to say. So thanks, guys, for listening.
1,000 people.
Share it with your friends for sure.
Definitely.
Like and subscribe. Help spread the word. Actually, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. Is anybody watching who isn't subscribed? Like, come on. Get with the program, eh? We are here every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Eastern, solving all of the world's problems. We could solve your problems too, actually. You guys could tune in and ask us questions and advice and stuff. Mary Lou's very good at advice. I don't know if I'm very good at advice, but I like talking about advice and hearing about people's problems and things like that.
You gave me all that advice about not getting the boat.
That's a good point. I did.
Yes,
that was a good advice.
It
was. I post these streams after the fact on Substack at meganmurphy.ca, and it's also on Mary Lou's Substack page, which is at Mary Lou Singleton. Mary Lou Singleton's website is enchantedfamilymedicine.com. She's on Twitter, X, at ML_Singleton. I'm on X, tweeting about the important questions of the day, like whether or not men are looking for girlfriends or prostitutes based on how much money they're spending on dates, at Meghan E. Murphy. And yeah, if you go to www.meganmurphy.ca, I appreciate paid subscribers. You get access to all my content. Much of my writing is behind a paywall. So if you want to access that, becoming a paid subscriber is the way to do that. I really appreciate it. I'm independent and I don't use chatbots. It's really just me. I'll be the last one standing, the only like writer and podcaster who's not relying on AI to do a bunch of my work for me. So I'll probably be worse off than everyone else, I guess. Okay. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Mary Lou.
Bye. See you next week.
Okay. Goodbye. Good night.